Okay, y'all, welcome to Dead Retarded Cancer Babies of the Reckoning. I'm gonna name my band that, by the way. I'm kidding. So, a lot of times, especially when I do vaccine videos, a lot of times I end up doing follow-up videos because I want to address some of the comments in the section, and good and bad, you know. So first of all, let me address a person in the comment section that asked me. First of all, they said that, like, oh, well, they put the aborted fetal tissue, they inject them so they don't get killed by the stomach acid. I'm like, where are you getting this? Are you just making stuff up? That's precisely why vaccines are an issue, because they're injected into the bloodstream. It's causing a whole host of autoimmune problems, right? So, because I've done a shit ton of research and not listened to sound bites, I know that there's a scientist named Arthur Krigsman, who actually took a pill camera because he was trying to figure out, gastrointestinally what was going on, and he found measles in the stomach. So when something is injected into you, it goes everywhere. If it's injected into the bloodstream, exactly, it goes to the blood-brain. It can go to the blood-brain barrier as well. That's why, a lot of aluminum has been found in the brain, because the macrophages gobble some of the aluminum up and take it straight to the blood-brain barrier. It's causing all kinds of, other autoimmune disorders. Every ingredient in the vaccine has its own issue, whether it's like the heavy metals, whether it's the DNA, the human and animal DNA, whether it's other chemicals, whether it's the glyphosate that's been found in vaccines. There's a lot of stuff on the vaccine excipient list that's each ingredient actually causes its own problem. So for somebody to be like, oh, well, they inject it so the stomach acid doesn't kill the virus. I mean, I'm just assuming that you're making it up, because even mainstream science doesn't even agree with that. Like, even pro-vax people that know the literature don't agree with that. And it's like, it's not scientifically feasible. So, and then the other question was like, well, when you get the mumps, then are you going to ask for help then? Well, I'm not going to get the mumps because I'm not going to get the mumps vaccine. You see, the mumps vaccine doesn't work. So if you can find the finger straight to scroll up to all the links, I actually put it underneath your comment, so you can see that the two virologists that are suing Merck, because they kept testing the vaccine and found out, according to their method of measuring titers, that the mumps vaccine is actually extremely ineffective, right? To the point where they go to their superiors and they have to make it pass, and they're told to spike their results with rabbit's bloods to make their results show that they work. So they got in trouble, and they're actually suing Merck for telling them to do that. So there's a lawsuit going on right now. Then the mumps outbreak that happened on the Navy ship that they tried to conceal, all those people were vaccinated. The mumps outbreak that's broken out in 2 colleges, all those people were vaccinated with the mumps vaccine. Okay? So, and then on top of that, a vaccine is a preventative. So if I got the mumps, then I wouldn't get a vaccine for mumps, because the vaccine, according to pro-vaccine mainstream science, is not a cure. It's a preventative. It's supposed to stop me from getting the mumps. So how are all these people that are getting vaccinated with the very virus they're supposed to be protected from getting, how are they getting it, right? Major study called 112-year Odyssey against Pertussis, and that's the bacteria that causes whooping cough, okay? Basically concludes that the people that were vaccinated with the Pertussis vaccine actually are more susceptible to getting whooping cough. There's a huge study that came out with primates where they basically gave the DTaP, which is the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccine, before you were able to sue in the vaccine injury court. or you were able to sue the pharmaceutical manufacturers directly before they put up the vaccine injury court. The DTaP was causing all sorts of autoimmune issues. Autism was one of them. Epilepsy was another. Death was another. SIDS was another. Asthma was another. Okay, that these are things that you could sue the pharmaceutical company directly for before they got complete immunity from the National Vaccine Compensation it's the act before they got complete immunity. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, so so now and after that, they don't use the whole cell. They use like a toxoid, right? So they don't use the whole the whole for the DTaP, right? They use like a portion of the. I'm sorry, I'm trying to. Anyway, so they use a portion. And what they found was that it suppresses the symptoms of people and monkeys in this primate study, right? And primates studies are very important because they're biologically very close to humans. So what they found was that they suppress the symptoms. But they carry it in their lungs. They get whooping cough and they carry it in their lungs and they spread it to other people. So all of these whooping cough outbreaks that you're hearing about, all these people are vaccinated, right? The measles, majority are vaccinated. In Africa, they just had a couple of incidences where, they had a mass measles vaccination campaign, vaccinated, and they had breakout anyway. Zhejiang province in China, 99.9% vaccination rate. Okay, and I'm guessing maybe the 0.1 whatever that's not vaccinated is like foreigners and stuff. They have had, this was like from 2009 to 2015, something like that, 700 measles outbreaks, constantly having measles outbreaks, yet the majority of the population is vaccinated against measles. While you have Japan, who has they don't have mandatory vaccination. It's recommended. They have a recommended schedule, meaning, and they also give single measles vaccines instead of the MMR. We give the MMR, that's patented by Merck, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, and they don't have measles outbreaks. Okay, so and they have less autism rates. It's actually gone down, and they're suing Merck because of all of the girls that's been injured by Gardasil. But you don't hear this stuff, right? I also follow international vaccine news, so I wanted to address those comments, and then somebody was like, "Oh, you're confused. There were only 2 babies that were aborted, and none of them were used for vaccines." Oh my God! Like, yeah, because black girls don't know science, right? We don't know nothing. Okay, so what are you gonna do when I post under your comment, right? Which I can't wait to do. It's gonna be so fun. The actual godfather, he's considered the godfather of vaccines. His name is Stanley Plotkin. Okay, he was actually called in, right? And all vaccine manufacturers from around the world, they defer to him for advice. He's made a crap ton of vaccines. Okay, he's a virologist. Okay, like the Mr. Pro-Vax Max vaccine guy himself, right? He was Paul Offit's, who's a pro-vaccine zealot, his mentor. Okay, he had to be deposed for a court case where he had to admit a lot of stuff under oath. And actually, 76, because he first said 74, and then he was like, oh yeah, I don't remember, and they're like, okay, 76. So what are you going to do when I put that video under your comment, right? Are you gonna still think that I'm confused? Because I'm hearing it straight from the horse's mouth that 76 babies were aborted, right? I mean, do you even bother to look at the comments? Like, it's just really insulting to all the research I've done, and I know there's some people that take me seriously, and there are a lot of people whenever I talk about vaccine, I always leave a plethora of information, but they're just people that just can't manage. See, it's easy. You go like this. Oh, you just, scroll up, and then you hover your mouse over, and then you click on it. right? You click on it and then you read it. And I posted so much stuff. Even if you're like a speed reader, there's no way you're going to be able to get through all the videos and the studies that I posted. But I know that there are people that are hungry for this knowledge, so I always post it because there are people that need to know this information. For those of you guys that just want to, recite sound bites and, worship your vaccines, that, I mean, it's very unfortunate for you, because this is going to affect you and your health and your family as well. If you want to be stubborn about this, if you just can't believe that, I know this stuff. I mean, I don't really know what to tell you except, fuck off, and I put it in the links for you. Like, really? So the person that sent me the Vaxopedia stuff, I've looked at that stuff. This is the thing where people are like, but I think you need another point of view. I have. What do you mean another point of view? Maybe you need another point of view, because you know what? Since birth, we're given vaccines. We're taught about how great vaccines are through children's books, through Sesame Street, through Teletubbies, through science fiction movies, and then we have TED Talks, and we have commercials, and we have it's written into to sitcoms and nighttime dramas. And, then you have comedians and late night talk shows, telling us, that, how great vaccines are, right? You have the Bill Nye the Science Guy. You have fake news nerds that are, putting in anti-vax jabs in their, monologues on the internet all the time. You have, all the articles when you look up stuff on top, on the search engines, they're always talking about how great vaccines are, right? So maybe you need a point of view, because I've read all that stuff. I promise you, I've read every single one of those papers, right? And I've had to, because I would go back and forth, to see what the other side is saying in response to the stuff that I was finding. So you're not going to change my mind by the 4 or 5 articles, but I've done 9 years of research. I've done 9 years of research, right? In addition to that, I've gone and talked to parents. I used to be a teacher that worked with special ed. I've seen stuff. I've had my own experiences. So, I mean, I'm sure you had good intentions, but I'm just being real with you. And I know you're not going to bother to look at any of the stuff I put up. So, I mean, I think that's why I'm a bit annoyed that, people are going to be like, oh, look at these links. Look at the science-based medicine, these Vaxopedia links. They'll tell you. They know. I'm like, are you kidding me? For real? Are you serious? I mean, and some of these, maybe you guys are kids, or maybe, you're teenagers and stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, my modus operandi is to inform people, because this is the stuff that's not being told to people, right? And by the way, the fact that these aborted fetal cell lines are being used in, vaccines and being injected into us, that's a fact. It's not my feelings. It's not my opinion, right? I left links and stuff where you can go and you can confirm for yourself that it's a fact, right? So now when you're ready to face the facts, for me, then the issue becomes, is it ethical or unethical? Is it effective or is it ineffective, right? I think mainly the big issue is it ethical and unethical, because it's even ineffective because it's showing to integrate into our DNA with dire results. So it's not even beneficial for us at all, not even a little bit. And then on top of that, there's just no way that I'm okay with that. There's no way that I'm okay with dead, retarded cancer babies being injected into me, and if I have children, being injected into them, right? And then you wonder why the cancer rates in children are skyrocketing. It's because first, when they're born, they're being stuck right away with this shit. And I can't even watch those St. Jude commercials. I get so livid. And they always pick the cutest kids, of course, but I don't want to see these kids have cancer. And then when you know where it's coming from, when I started teaching and I was coming across this information, and I had kids in my class with epilepsy and brain damage and stuff. And, I know that vaccines is a factor. It fucking rips my heart out. It pisses me off and it rips my heart out. Okay? So I remember, you know, and the person, and I'm not calling you out, but I just want you to know this. There's another person that was saying that they know the flu shot is bad. And, you know, but they're going to try and hold off until they're mandated to take it. Now, I wouldn't take it. And I think this person's in Colorado, so you're lucky you have all 3 of your mandates. I would actually start researching how you can fight that now, so they can't even make you take it out of fear, so you know your rights. So, and this is for anybody. I'm bringing you up. I'm not trying to be mean and make an example out of you for revenge or anything for this particular person, just because I know that this could be beneficial to somebody else that's watching. So if I left in the links, I left of NVIC's National Vaccine Information Center. They have a really good infographic of all the 50 states and what religious or what exemptions are available. You have religious, you have philosophical, and you have medical. And there should be information on how to go about getting those exemptions. You should know your rights, what people can make you, really nobody can make you do anything, you know, maybe in GovPoint, but you know your rights, okay? And also, you know, the flu vaccine, the vaccine in due court, that's the highest awarded shot is the flu shot, and they get the strain. They've gotten the strain. The flu has very different strains, so they have to guess which strain that they're gonna, because they have to make a whole batch for like the coming fall. So wherever batch for next year, they're gonna start either at the beginning of next year or at the end of next year. They're going to start like in January, and they're going to make it for the fall, right? Or they'll start at the end of this year and they'll make it for the fall of next year. So they guess. There's no scientific method behind this. It's like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like they guess. It's very subjective. Like science is supposed to be objective. It's very subjective. They guess. So technically, even by their own standards, the flu shot hasn't worked in the last 3 or 4 years because they even have the strains wrong. But if you understand, I'm going to talk more about this in the future about Beauchamp and Pasteur. I actually like Beauchamp's model where he talks about the terrain, and when you are, you know, when you have your terrain intact, you could succumb, meaning you get sick. Either you won't get sick, or if you do get sick, you'll be able to fight it off easier, right? Whereas, you know, Pasteur's germ theory model is like, oh, you know, germs are around us all the time, blah, blah, blah. And they are, but the thing is, you know, there are tons of diseases and we only vaccinate for like, what, 16? Like hundreds of deadly ones. If you succumb to them and get sick, they can kill you. We're only vaccinate for the ones that are marketed. Okay, that people are making money off of. But don't worry, there's like at least 200 plus vaccines in the line, in the pipeline coming down, right? They're just gonna stick us, right? They're coming for adults too. So, but for that person with the flu shot, I wouldn't take it. I used to get the flu every time I would get the flu shot. And they would try and Jedi mind trick me and just be like, you don't really have the flu. And I'm like, but I just really puked and I really have a fever and I really had to call out of work. So, you know, and then I was just like, you know what? Even before I would consider myself anti-vaccine, I was just like, yeah, I use my common sense. And I'm just like, I don't like disregard all vaccines, but I'm just not going to take the flu shot because I just notice every time I get sick, right? And also complications, include Guillain-Barré, which is paralysis, right? It starts from your feet and moves up, and you can become paralyzed even to the point where you can't breathe, and there's a connection between that and polio, which I'll talk about in future videos. So that, you know, you can die. There was a senator that died last year from the flu shot. There was another guy that was seriously injured. You know, I mean, it's not worth it, sweetie. It's not worth your health because you can get over the flu. Even if you get the flu, you're not going to die from the flu. And they don't tell you too, people that die, like the statistics of people that die from the flu is people that have immunocompromised systems like AIDS patients, or they die of pneumonia, and they just lump those in with the people that have that, you know, with the flu, right? So they convolute the results and stuff like that. And then immunocompromised, like getting vaccinated isn't going to save them because vaccine shed, which I've made videos about and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Person with the flu, go, I did a video on the flu shot a few months ago. Just go to the search on this channel and like type in flu shot or whatever. And if you can't find it, Facebook message me. I'll give you some links and stuff for you. Anybody else that has questions, we have other admins, me and a couple of other people. If you want to go, if you have some questions about stuff, I try and I'm compiling a lot of information so I can just send it to people and they can start researching. Because I really, like I said in the last video, don't believe me. I want you to research yourself. And this is why, this is the last, and I'll close out. I know this video is getting a little bit too long, but when I first started researching vaccines, I was living overseas and I was wary. Like I wouldn't even call myself an anti-vaxxer at the time. I was wary because I was like, oh, I see some stuff. I know some stuff. I don't know a lot, but you know. And I'm getting out of a cab and it's raining. Okay. Somebody was like, were you drunk? I was not drunk. It was in the morning. I was going to work. I was tutoring this guy. And I slipped because their flipping sidewalks are made of bathroom tiles. So imagine that shit in the rain. Anyway. Slip, count my gap, slip, crack my head open, right? Went to the hospital and they wanted to give me a tetanus shot. And I was just like, I don't know. So, I was bullied into taking a tetanus shot, long story short. I can make the story funnier, but I need to wrap this video up. Long story short, I was bullied into taking a tetanus shot because I was in a place of fear. I was bleeding out the side of my head. I was in a country where I didn't flipping know the language. And the doctor's yelling at me in Chinese because I'm just like, I don't know. And I'm waiting for the translator to be like, he told me if I didn't get the shot and I got an infection, they weren't going to help me. And I was like, whoa, that's messed up. All right, I'll get the shot, you know? So, at that time, I didn't have the knowledge that I had now. And then I went back and I started researching the tetanus shot. And, you know, it's bullshit. Right? It doesn't stop you from getting tetanus. And tetanus is very rare. It grows in spores. Only people that really are at risk for getting tetanus are people that work like farm workers. Like if a spore happens to get onto like a rusted piece of nail and you step on it and it goes deep into your body, right? And then there are other ways to deal with it. If you get, like, a vaccine is not going to help you because it's supposed to be a preventative. So, there are other ways to deal with it other than getting a tetanus vaccine. And then, if you've ever seen that documentary, Trace Amounts, it was about a guy who actually got an adult tetanus vaccine and he had, like, horrible side effects, like worse than tetanus from the vaccine itself. So, there's also, if you Google, Suzanne Humpries, she gives a really good lecture on tetanus, like Dr. Suzanne Humpries MD, and she does a really good, she has a really good lecture, like, on tetanus. If I can find it, I'll put in the links. But most of everything else I talked about is in the first dead retarded cancer baby video. So, this is the sequel, The Reckoning. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think I just wanted to address that. All right, guys, that's it. Peace, truth, and love, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.